become very depressing, but don't be depressed because we're going to turn it around. But it is, it's depressing. I ask my statisticians, I have people, they do nothing but stats, which can't be a very exciting job, right? They love it. They love it. Me, I wouldn't want that job. But they're good at it. And they get it right from the books. And they said this area, which is a great area, great people, has lost 1 in 4 manufacturing jobs since 2001, the year Congress voted to put China into the World Trade Organization. Mistake. The vote gave China permanent, most favored nation trading status. That gives them an advantage. Why? What are we doing? Why? And I do a lot of business with China. And I love China. China's fine. I made a lot of money with China. They have the biggest bank in the world as my tenant in Manhattan in one of my buildings. Good tenant. Pays the rent on time. This is a serious thing. The bank has 400 million customers. That's a big bank. That means at Citibank, I said to the head of the bank, how big are you compared to, let's say, Citibank? And they said, that is like a small subsidiary. You know, it's true. It's like a little bank by comparison. But it's my tenant. I have 2 big buildings, Bank of America building in San Francisco and 1290 Avenue of the Americas, one of the biggest buildings in New York, biggest floor plates. And I got that through China. Not friendly, unfriendly. It was a war, and it's turned out to be a great deal with a wonderful partner, and we ended up making a fantastic deal. And they buy condos like they're mashed potatoes from me. You understand? Like pancakes. I'll take one for 10 million. I'll take one for 9. Nothing against China. And I'm not angry at China, and I'm not angry at Mexico, and I'm not angry at India or Vietnam, which is hot as a pistol right now, taking a lot of stuff away from us. I'm not angry at Japan. They send cars over by the millions. We give them practically nothing. You talk about a trade imbalance. They're up here, we're down like below that stage. It's trade imbalance. I'm not angry at any of them. I'm angry at our leaders for being grossly incompetent and not knowing what they're doing. Because there's no reason. So a few more things. Indiana's lost 5,000 jobs over the last period of time. Manufacturing jobs. In the last 3 months, you lost 5,000 jobs? That's not good, okay? According to the last 3 months, you lost 5,000 jobs. Somebody else would say, oh, you're doing well. Great. According to the Federal Reserve, real median household income in the state of Indiana has declined $10,000 since 1999. That means you're working harder and you're making less. Some of you have 2 jobs. I understand it. You know, nobody else understood it. They're all trying to say, what's going on with Trump? I understand it. I grew up, you know, my father was a builder in Brooklyn and Queens, and I would work on jobs. And I got to know, people say, why do you relate so well to like carpenters and electricians? I mean, I grew up with them. I know them better. Frankly, I don't like the rich people so much, if you want to know the truth. Those are the ones I don't like as much. Not nearly as much. But look at this. This area lost about 15% of its construction jobs since the recession. The city of Indianapolis has lost 1/3 of its manufacturing jobs since 1990. Carrier air conditioning. Now, I've been dealing on Carrier since it announced, and I guess a lot of you have heard, because unfortunately, look at all the cameras back there. They always put my speeches on live television, which is a big disadvantage, because I have to come up with a new speech every 4 hours. So you can't say that. It's true. It's true. Otherwise, they'll say he's a very repetitive person. Well, they only do it because of the ratings, but I have to change it up. You know, these other guys, they walk around, they read the exact same speech at every single stop, right? Every single stop, they read a speech, and it's always within 30 seconds of length, and then they walk out. People fall asleep, everyone's sleeping, everyone goes home, nobody votes for them, they're out of the race. Me, I don't have any teleprompters. I'm up here all by myself. Speeches I saw the other night, Hillary Clinton, she's got a teleprompter. And we will travel north and south and east and west. And I would say that she started screaming at the teleprompter, but I'm not allowed to say that. You know why? Now, if she was a man, I could say it, but as a woman, ladies, I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to say it. She was screaming at the teleprompter, but I will not say it, okay? Many women told me, See, it sounds like Shakespeare, right? This is like, everything's always Shakespeare. Even if he's making a simple statement, I am the only one. I always kid, but unfortunately, I'm telling the truth. He walks up with the Bible held high, right? You're held high in the Bible, boom. Then he comes over and he starts lying like nobody I've ever seen. But and by the way, also another poll, Wall Street Journal came out just now. Trump in Indiana, which is what we care about, although we do love that national poll, I have to say. In other words, winning Indiana without the rest of it, none of us are too happy. But in Indiana, Trump is over Hillary 48 to 41. But you know, Kasich, who has not had one negative ad, and he's a nice guy. I don't like his eating habits, to be totally honest. In fact, I was eating at a good restaurant today in Indianapolis, a nice, really nice place. And the owner was great. And they were serving me food, and I said, turn off all the cameras. You know, camera. I don't want to eat. But it's true. I always tell my son, little tiny bites. I tell all my kids, Ivanka, Don, Eric, Tiffany, all as they grow up, little bites. And I see him, oh. I don't get it. I've never seen a man make so many news conferences while he's eating. He's always eating. He's never standing up having a news conference. So when I sat down, I just said, do me a favor, get those cameras away. I don't want to be. They'll say I'm copying him. I don't want that. But you know, his standard line, and Cruz more than it, he said, I am the only one that can beat Hillary Clinton. He's going to get killed. Killed. So he hasn't had a negative ad. And Kasich hasn't had one negative ad because nobody cares. You know, there's no evidence. Listen to this. So I was saying 55,000 as of a week ago. Well, it's changed. I've had 60,000, hard to believe. Although, if you were me, you'd believe it because every time I see one, and it's all the time. I was in Florida, and I'm telling you, I won Florida in a landslide. But I told my people there's no way I can win. I told my people the day before the election, there's no way I can win because I was there. I owned Doral. We had this major golf tournament, you know, World Championship, Cadillac World Championship. Adam Scott won. And I'm there, and I'm telling you, I said to my people, it's going to be embarrassing. I mean, there's no way I can win. Every single ad in Florida for weeks was a negative ad of me. And they were false ads. Well, 90%. 90%. Maybe even 95%. But they were false ads. So much lies and deception. False. But they were one after another. They'd have 4 or 5 ads in a row. And my people said, Mr. Trump, congratulations, you're going to win in a landslide. I said, how can I win? I got all these negative ads. I said, I'm telling you, I'm not going to win. That's my own insecurity coming out, okay? But I said, I'm not going to win. And we won by like more than 20 points. We won in a landslide. And then last night, I'm here and I'm watching television. I see all these phony ads, one after another after another. You know, stop Trump or never Trump or whatever the hell they call it. And they formed the alliance in order to never Trump. Because you know why? Because the people putting up the money own companies and they do business with China. And they do business with Mexico, and they want to keep it the way it is, folks, but we're getting killed in these deals, okay? So they're putting up all this money. One guy put up $3 million, so one guy owns the Chicago Cubs. I'm rooting against that team now. They own, no, think of it. This guy, Ricketts or something, I never met him. He owns the Chicago Cubs. He's putting up millions, I don't even know the guy. Can you imagine how badly I do if he knew me? I do even worse, I guess. I don't even know him. I have no idea who he is. I'd still like him to win. They're a nice team. Okay. But you know what? He's putting up millions. Like somebody said, $3-4 million. I say, $3-4 million for what? I'll do a better job than anybody else. Why are they doing this? The only reason is people have interest that you'll never know about. And they do bet against the country. And they don't mind when the country loses its jobs. They don't mind when Carrier leaves 1,400 people go that are great people, moves to Mexico, makes air conditioners, sells them across the border, no tax, no nothing, makes more money, okay? And the air conditioners aren't going to sell for more money. They're going to sell for the same price because they have to compete with trade. I buy a lot of air conditioners. What do I buy air conditioners? I buy televisions and air conditioners. I buy a lot. But they got to keep it competitive. All it is they're going to make more money. They're going to let go of 1,400 people. And here's the difference with me. You know, for years you've been reading where the federal government is trying to stop the tremendous onslaught of companies that are leaving our country. And that means jobs, folks. It means huge money, and it means jobs. So they say, well, we'll give them low-interest loans. They don't need loans. They got a lot of money. We'll give them other things. We'll give them all sorts of incentives. They don't need incentives. They don't want incentives. Let's give them a real incentive. Every single time they make an air conditioning unit in Mexico and send it across our now very strong border, they'll pay a 35% tax. That's all. And you know what? They'll still make money. But one of two things will happen. Either our country's going to make a hell of a lot of money, because they're going to still sell them, because it may be too late. You know, maybe they've started their plant. It's probably never too late. We'll get them to come back. You know, if we charge them enough, they'll start coming back. And I tell this to the politicians. Well, we like free market. Free market's great. I'm a free market guy. But not when you're getting killed. We're getting killed. I mean, look at your numbers. And you're doing better than a lot of states. Not a lot better. It actually surprised me when I look at some of these numbers about Indianapolis. It's lost practically half of their jobs, their manufacturing jobs. Steel. Look at steel. It's being wiped out. Your coal industry is wiped out, and yet China is taking our coal. So China, and I'm going to open up clean coal. Okay, we're going to open up our coal industry again. We have miners that are out of people. I mean, we have this president that flies to Hawaii in a 747 with big old engines, spewing stuff in the air, and he plays golf for 2.5 or 3 weeks. Then he gets on the 740, it's called Air Force One, comes back, and he has a speech on the carbon footprint. Give me a break. Give me a break. And in the meantime, our miners and our steel workers are being laid off all over the place, okay? Not going to happen anymore, folks, okay? It's not going to happen anymore.